Thank you so much. I'm completely blind. I have too much light. And I'm French, and sorry for my English, okay? Let's start. I'm graphic designer, I'm old graphic designer. I always working with digital and physical media. And 3 years ago, I start to just test artificial intelligence. And at the beginning, I was very, not afraid, but sarcastic. You know, it's just bullshit. It's like NFT or crypto monies. I don't care. And 2 years ago, I said, wow, there is very big step. And how many people use ChatGPT, for example? Okay. How many people use Midjourney or DALL-E? Okay, perfect. And look, now, sorry, it's in French, but it's easy to understand. The horizontal line is human capacity. We are, for a lot of, there is a lot of capacity where we are, the AI are better than us. For voice recognition, voice for detection of picture, creating picture, understanding language, understanding like that. And there is a lot of capacity. We are old-fashioned. Okay, it's finished. It's not finished, of course, but wow, my son, for example, with Midjourney, he's better than me on graphic design. Okay, you say, wow, it's really disturbing, depressed. And I am a teacher, designer and teacher. And for my teacher, I say, okay, I have to make a lot of workshop, just to understand what is possible to do with this new paradigm with artificial intelligence. And I made, I don't know, 14, every month I made two workshops in Geneva, in France, in Quebec, everywhere, where people speaking French, I'm here. Okay. In Morocco, and next month I will be in Morocco. And, sorry. And look, 1 year separate, this with the same prompt, with the same, for the same picture. It's last year, this is this year. Last year it was 1 minute or 2 minutes. That one is 45 seconds. Okay, it's very fast. My president. Last year, this year, okay? I prefer that one. It's more creative. It's very weird because I've got nostalgia from 1 year, just 1 year. It's, it was better 1 year. It's very strange. And that one, it's just 5 seconds, okay? It's really incredible. If you are a photographer and you try to make this kind of picture, it's very strange, okay? And or that one, okay? It's just 5 seconds. The prompt is just with natural language, 3 kids, 3 boys, up with hyper-realistic or illustration by, or I don't know, watercolor or something like that. And it's just, look, 1 year ago, I just write a black cat on the streets of New York. Look, it's a real time. At the beginning, with the AI, generative AI, they start every time with a noisy random picture. Every time, okay? And look, now he's trying to find on this noisy pixel, like you, to find a black cat. And we call it hallucination. It's really an hallucination, and he's able to look like you. You can find a cat here, and after 30 seconds, this picture is really ugly because it's 1 year ago, but all the AI generative image, they start like that by a random picture. That's why when you prompt a black cat on street of New York again, the picture will be different because it starts with a different picture at the beginning. We call it seed. The seed is the first picture, okay? And now, after 30 seconds, there is a black cat on the street, okay? It's not very nice picture, but you can recognize a cat on the street, okay? And now I will show you a lot of project I made with students. And look, 2 years ago in Geneva, I start with GPT-3, not ChatGPT, GPT-3. I just ask in real time with a student. You are my student. You are 20 years old. You are very great. You draw like a god. It's no, they're really, really. They've got a lot of talent. And I ask just that: how will the profession of designer or illustrator evolve with the arrival of artificial intelligence? And look, the answer: to survive of this environment, the designer will have to give up his almost superstitious reverence for creativity. He said, "Wow!" We start a workshop like that. He said, "Wow!" And he's right. No, but I'm sure he's right. But now, as a human, we have to find where I am. Okay. And for example, in École Camando, I start to work with architect, and we try to find. I use this one, just to create extension for Le Corbusier, for example, of course. And we create a lot of picture, and we made a book with I don't know how many thousands of variation about Villa Savoie, a very famous villa from Le Corbusier, just for fun. But on this thousands picture, there is 10 picture where the architect, they say, okay, it's not too bad. Because at the beginning, it was just a joke. And after 2 days of work, say, wow, there is different idea. He's very interesting. Another one, for the Guggenheim, of course, it's fun. And another one, in Camando, there's a group of students that were working on a sofa, classical sofa at the beginning. And the picture were nice, okay, chair, sofa, okay. And suddenly, a girl, she just add broccoli. And broccoli is a magic word, okay? Broccoli, and suddenly there is a picture like that, and the student, they say, wow, it's like, a new path on your mind. You say, wow, but it's very interesting. The shape is very interesting. And they start a new sofa collection with this kind of picture. Of course, they try to create for real, but of course not. And another example with, I don't know, with shipper, chou-fleur, I don't know in English, voilà. But we put a lot of vegetable word inside a very serious prompt, okay? And we create a very strange picture like that, but after they try to create for real with wool or another material this kind of object. Another one, sorry for the quality. Yes, all the picture, I took this picture during a workshop. It's not very nice picture. Okay, I'm sorry for that. A very young student, she tried. We were working, and she told me, "Oh, I've made a lot. I made a lot of picture, and this picture, I said, wow, it's very nice idea." A hostile teapot, anti-design teapot, very aggressive teapot. And she told me, no, it's mistake. I just asked teapot with green cactus color. And there is a mistake with the AI. And this is very interesting for me. This is a misunderstanding with AI. And sometimes it starts to be very interesting. And after, she tried to create a very hostile set de table, fork and knife and glass, very dangerous. But the idea, it's, the AI, they don't know what it's doing. It just produce. And as human, you say, okay, this picture is very interesting. That one, not, okay? And now we are more curator or art director than graphic designer or illustrator. It's a new paradigm. And another one, very sad story. A Korean student, she create. It's hard to explain. She created a very sad story about a children who has Alzheimer disease. Okay, and everything was made by AI, but she put the children in the center of the page, and every time when you change the page, there is no picture here. And at the beginning, after 16 pages, it's just white. And it's very emotional graphic novel. And now, as a graphic designer, she's not illustrator, and it's hard to explain, sorry, even in French. But the silence is for human, and the silence is more important than the picture. This is at the end of this work, we say, okay, the silence is very important, and the AI is not able to create silence. Human is able to create silence, like music, or picture, or graphic design, or whatever. And it was very interesting because at the end, she said, okay, I know how to manage AI with my work. Because at the beginning, she was very afraid. She said, oh, I lose my job, I like to draw, and now she's just using AI just to create image, but she used silence to create emotion. Another one, very interesting, in Geneva last year, a student, she started to create character and costume for Faust, opera Faust. At the beginning, she asked Midjourney on AI, generative AI, to create characters, and she mixed a lot of reference, and after 1 hour, she found a very interesting character, and she decided to draw by hand. Okay, she drew now, like that, and after the drawing, she puts this drawing on the AI, and now she say, okay, now you have to dress and to create a costume for my draw. And it's like a dialogue. She's creating AI, generative AI, and after she draw by herself, after she puts the drawing inside the AI, there is a new generation, and etc., etc. It was very interesting. Another one, at the end, it's a very nice book at the end. And another one, for this graphic novel, she was working, she she asked the AI to create the boring and the very complex picture to do. And for example, for creating a picture of the city, top view of the city, or very complex building, she asked the AI to do that, okay? And after, she redraw by herself very fast, and all the characters and the story is handmade drawing, classical handmade. And it was very interesting. It's really a dialogue with AI and drawing, and classical and drawing. Another project, very interesting, at École Estienne in Paris. It's a completely new one. The student, they worked for an exhibition about Alphonse Mucha, you know, Art Nouveau, and they train, and now, you know, Midjourney, DALL-E, or ChatGPT, it's general AI. But there is a lot of new AI, and now you are able to train an AI on a specific data set. And they train an AI just with a picture from Alphonse Mucha. Okay, this AI, it knows just Alphonse Mucha. And now we use a camera. Okay, and now we say, okay, with this picture, you have to create something, and he's creating a Mucha-like picture like that. Okay, because he doesn't know what is a flower, teapot, gadget, or another one. Look, it was in real time. This AI knows only Mucha. Okay, it's very strange. The world is just Mucha, and he tried to create a picture who look like Mucha, but with this kind of picture. And of course, with AI, you can create text to picture, but you can create picture to picture, or voice to picture, music to voice to picture, okay? It's completely crazy. And another one, and with a dancer, okay? It's real time now, almost real time. But look, he's a man, but the AI is just able to create woman, because he knows only woman with long hair and Art Nouveau style. Another one, a group at École Condé in Paris. I was working with a group of students. There is Chinese, English, and French. And she discovered that if you prompt in different language, if you write, for example, a woman walking on the street in Paris in French, if you write the same sentence in English or Japanese, the picture will be different. Okay, because depending of the language you use, the picture will be different. And now they start to create prompt mixing in Chinese, English, German, or whatever language. It was very interesting to create very specific picture like that. And for example, fabric For that one, the picture fabric was in Chinese and fabric was in French. You know the difference, okay? And it's just an example. They made a lot of pictures like that, but it was very interesting, depending of the language, and they start to create a new language, a multi-language for the AI to create a very precise image picture. Another one in Vevey in Geneva, this student, they tried to create woman and man collection, a non-binary collection for shoes or for fashion. It was very interesting, and I create chimera fashion or shoes like that. Another one, in École de Condé, the student, they try to create the future of music, okay? And after creating a lot of picture, they say, okay, we took this picture and we put in AI, donc the AI is able to create at the beginning by a picture to music. Okay? Ah, there is a sound. Ah, je suis désolé. Je vous ai... Bon. I try. Okay? And this picture, was only made by, this music, was only made by this picture. Of course, it's very experimental, but it's very interesting to mix different medium and media. Another one in École de Condé, Estienne, in Paris, this student, they create like small hologram in real time with AI, and it's like that. Look, it's very hard to record. And depending how close you are, the picture change. If I am here, the picture, the image were very nice, and when you are very close, the image was completely waste and destroyed. Okay, and everything was in real time. It's hard to find. Right, it's like that. Another one, it's my work now. And you know, at the beginning, 3 years ago, I spent a lot of time in front of my computer on my mobile phone to create not very interesting picture. You know, at the beginning, it's very fascinating. I'm sure when you start Midjourney, you create a lot of dog and cat smiling and whatever, with broccoli. Rococo is nice also. Rococo is very nice. And as graphic designer and typographer, you know, for typography, the AI is really not very bad. Okay, it's really bad. I don't know why, to be honest, but it's really bad. I say, okay, perhaps it could be interesting to create some letters, not font, just characters and letters with AI. And 3 years ago, I start to create that one. This is I found the poster here. Okay, oops. For example, that one is just with long hair. You know, have a big problem for that, and with a font just with long hair, or a lot of typography like that. And it's very hard for me, you know. For me, I study at Paris with a professor from Switzerland. It's just Helvetica, black and white. Okay, Helvetica. Perhaps Univer or Frutiger, but I like Bodoni. And you know, I'm 55 years old, and say, wow, it's like a liberation. Okay, I use broccoli, rococo, milkshake, whatever with typography. But every time I start by Helvetica, it's a shame. Sorry. And another one, you know, like that. Very oniric. It's very easy to create oniric shape or picture with AI. Okay, another one. A lot of them. And for example, that one, I've been working for Issey Miyake, a Japanese fashion designer, 10 years ago, and I put a lot of reference of Issey Miyake inside this picture, like this one. Of course, mushroom. That one is Issey Miyake dress between coral colors. It's a really interesting mix. And me, like Mineur, Etienne Mineur. And another one, last year, a man asked me, okay, I know you are starting to create some picture with AI, but I've got a project. This project is Odyssée Sonore. This is on a city on the south of France, is Orange. And on Orange, sorry, there is a very, very nice and huge antique theater, but very huge. I didn't know before, you know. And they create an immersive video show, a very big one, a very big one. We use 25 different video beamer with video mapping. Well, it's really huge project. And Frédéric Rose, the producer, he told me, okay, you have to create everything only with AI. I said, wow, only with AI. It was 2 years ago. 2 years. 2 years ago, 1 year. And it was very complex. And we create back. Sorry. Okay. And we were just 3. I was the art director and motion designer and the director for this project, for the visual part. And we create a very huge show like that only by with AI, generative AI. And that one show. It's very hard to record because it's during the night. And the story was about the creation of the world by the antique and Greek. This is a Minotaur, of course, labyrinth. And every picture is made by AI, not the animation, because the animation 2 years ago it was not very useful. But I create a lot of picture like that. And it was very interesting because AI is very, very fast, and I was able to create a lot of mood board, and it's me here. It's a prototype. It's me. Okay. I say, okay, it's me. I say like that. I was like that, but I say it's this. Okay. Normally, there is a lot of sound, and the people use a very nice headphone with a spatialized sound. It was a very nice show. And after, I will explain how I did all this picture. And depending where you are, the sound was different, and the graphic design also. And I start like that, just with very weird sketch. After I put everything on the AI, and she start to create this kind of picture. And this is my casting, you know, because I have to show all the Titan, God, Goddess, Muse, and we create a casting like that, you know, the Minotaur, Minerve. This is the muse of poetry, of whatever, and like that. And you know, I was not before AI. I was not able to create a picture like that. Okay. And now with the AI, we decide to go on this art direction because it was possible, and we made that in 2 weeks. Just we create a lot of picture like that, and after I continue to improve all this picture, and after I have to animate, but animate was a classical animation. And look, at the beginning, when I start to describe a god or goddess or muse, it's like that. I was really afraid. You know, I I use a real description from the antique text, from Greek or Roman. I put on the AI. I say, okay, now could you make me, I don't know, Mineur, for example, or whatever. And at the beginning, it was like that. So, wow, I was really depressed at the beginning. So, wow, it's not possible. And after, I improved my prompt, my text, and look, it was very funny because it was Renaissance. Because Renaissance, painting from Renaissance, use a lot of antique stories. And after, I was able to create a real picture like that. But for that, I have to use, I can show you if you want, a lot of antique sculpture, Louvre, Greek, Roman, a lot of word to explain. I don't like Marvel or Disney style. I would like to have a real antique statue, for example. There's a lot of different. For example, look, this is. For example, I use this kind of picture. That one, and after, look, this is a real picture at the end, but I have to improve the scale and to create a lot of. There's a lot of work, handmade work, to create a decor like that. Okay, because the AI, the pictures are really small. 2 years ago, it was very small. Now it's better, but are really small, and you know. The scene is 80 meters by 60 meters. It's very huge. And at the end, it's like that. Okay. And for example, there is a scene. I need a lot of tree and a forest, and I create trees like that. And after, I am able to create a complete forest with 100 of trees, completely different. And it was very fast to do that. I'm not obsessed by fast. It's not a problem. But with the AI, I'm able to create a different mood very fast. And after, I have to choose. I don't win a lot of time with AI. Sometimes it's very, it's a lot of waste of time sometimes. And the real guy, of course, from the AI, the two guys are really mathematicians to create all this picture. The video mapping, and of course, all this work. And another work, very funny, a friend of mine who has a band, it's a post-punk, post-rock experimental music. And he asked me, well, it could be interesting to create a LP cover only by AI. I say, okay, it could be interesting. We speak about a lot, and there is a story about fisherman, a fight, very violent stories. And we found a very nice engraving and lithography from the 16th and 17th century. And I train an AI only for engraving and lithography picture. Okay. And after, I decide to create a lot of picture like that. Hop, I show you. Tuck. And look. And after, I print all of this picture, and after, by hand, I scratch, I cut, I fold, I destroy completely this picture, only by hand. And after, I just took a picture of this object, and it was my LP cover at the end, okay? And, you know, I use AI only as a raw material. The first material was made by AI, but after, it's only handmade craft picture. And it's very funny because, very interesting because me and my student, more we are working with AI, more in the same times we are working with by hand. I think it's to balance the karma. I don't know what. I think it's something like that, you know? Okay, 50% of AI, okay, 50% of real cutting, folding, and using ink, lithography, engraving system, silk screen, and it was very interesting to create something like that. And it's like crafting improved by AI, sorry. The CD, of course. Okay. And I've time. For first time in my life, I was very fast. And this is the last book I made now. That's why I'm very excited by this book. This book is a very strange one. I try to explain very clearly. This book was made by Nicolas Nova. Perhaps you know Nicolas Nova. He's a scientist, researcher, and he's working at Geneva, and he's working during the last 4 years mainly on Chamonix and the Alps. And what is the future of Chamonix, for example? Chamonix is the place in Europe where the climate change is the most visible. Okay, and after collecting a lot of text, scientist data, a lot of tales, fantasy tales, he has a lot of information, and we decide to create with Sabrina Calvo role-playing games with these contents. And I decide to create, this, and for example, look, this cover was made without ink, no ink. Okay, it's just made by a cutting system and laser engraving system. Okay, there's no ink. We try to create a book with no ink. Of course, inside we need ink, but now it's no ink. We use a lot of picture from old engraving picture, for example, inside this book, like that, and we use a risograph system. And all the picture we use before 2023, it's a real picture. But after, because we are speaking about the future of Chamonix, it's made by AI, generative AI. Okay, but my AI was trained only with old picture from the 19th century of Chamonix. I've got a big collection of pictures from Chamonix from the past century. And now I ask, for example, what could be a poster for a music festival in 2042. Okay, and it's of course I made a lot of pictures like that, and after I create a lot of pictures of the future of Chamonix. For example, vegetable, flora, fauna. For example, this is a Saint-Tropez party, ancien téléphérique du Brévent in 2068. It will be like that. And I try to create what could be the graphic design in the future. It's a design speculative fiction for graphic design improved by AI. Sorry, it's very long story. And for example, look, it's a mutant bouquetin. We use a lot of tales from the Alps, and we put all the tales on the Midjourney, for example, or AI, and we say, okay, could you illustrate these tales? And there is a picture like that. That one is a story of a woman who transforms in bird, and it's like a loup-garou, werewolf, but woman werewolf, but with a bird. Another one, it was hard, you know, it's a strange story, but it's really hard to create a bad drawing with the AI, because with AI, I'm sure when you start with a DALL-E and Midjourney, you know, everything is very clean, very clean, very well drawing, okay? And to create a picture like that, it's a lot of time. You know, we say, okay, you have to create a dirty image and something like that. Another one. A monster, of course. And for example, for the Alps, there is no spoiler, but the next year in Chamonix, it's less snow and more water. And now they will create a lot of water dam for create electricity. Okay, and there's a lot of different dimension and for architecture, for drafting, for tourism, for culture, for music, for the future. And we try to create a really story, like a role-playing games. What is the future of Chamonix? For the ceramic, for example, the ceramic in the future. Okay, only made by rocks and a specific ink who could find in the Alps. Or for example, the church or temple in 1 century, how could be a temple or church inside the Alps. And we make a lot of picture. But at the beginning, it was very scientist data. Okay, we put a lot of that, and after we create a lot of picture like that. For me, for this project, that's why I'm very excited by this project. It's like a divination system, or a crystal ball. I ask, say, okay, show me the future, and of course I have to add a lot of reference, a word, different word. I don't use broccoli for this picture, but I have to try. And another one is nice one is the shelter. How will be the refuge or shelter in the future? But inside we have to use a folding system for the shelter, or solar panel with a filter for the shelter, for example. And I was too fast. Just back, tac, ceramic, drawing. Let's see. And we create, for example, it's in French for the moment, but we create a new law. What is going with the law, with the energy? We try to create a new world, but a speculative world, but a realistic speculative world. And now, as a player, you have to, and we create a lot of different scenarios. It's a game. It's a game. And after, okay, you have to play with this scenario, but with picture like that, and to create. Okay, for example, there is a scenario you have to organize a KIKK Festival in Chamonix, like that. And how it's possible in the 2068? What is possible to do that? Okay, like that. Okay, I'm fast. Sorry, tuk. Ceramic, church, and it's finished. Wow, 3 minutes again. Voilà. I'm so fast. Thank you.